And also, and Gussie used to tell us the story that her mother or her grandmother would tell her how they worked for this white woman, and she would kill the maids and bury them in the backyard.
What?
Did ever tell you that?
Wait, say it again?
And Gussie said either her grandma or her great grandma
Mm-hmm.
told her that maids would work for this white woman, and she would kill her black maids and bury them in her backyard.
I believe it.
I believe it too.
Mm-hmm.
And because then Gussie wasn't smiling when she said it.
Mm-hmm.
It was very sad.
Mm-hmm. But so a couple of things. So our Papa would have been 40 in 1905 when my great grandmother was born.
Mm-hmm.
So 40 years old.
Yeah.
Wait, no. 1865 minus 1905 is 40 years old. So it's very probable that he was a slave because it's too close. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And also, if Gussie knew that this white woman was killing maids and burying them in the backyard, Papa had to know that too.
Yeah.
Mama said she prayed that. She said that she knew she could not stay in Valdosta because Valdosta was not going anywhere. And besides, people were disappearing.
Yeah, why were they disappearing?
Because the white folks was killing them.
Mm.
Yes, but Valdosta had a terrible rep.
Mm.
I mean, terrible. It's getting a little better now, not much. The thing that I showed Carol about Valdosta, they put up a great big sign that said "Vote Trump out," and that was unusual. I know Valdosta changed. Jeez, great big old billboard facing the highway.
Do you think that maybe your Aunt Gussie probably left because that reason too?
Well, I'm not sure. I think their main reason for leaving was that Uncle Van had a brother that lived in parts of Miami.
Okay.
I think that's why they left, but it could have been economic too.
And racial.
And racial. Yes. Because people would wake up in the morning and mill around and say, "Well, where is so and so and so?" I don't know. Disappeared. They said, "Well, where did he go?" But it was an unspoken fact that they were going somewhere to be lynched or to work on a farm like a slave. Everybody knew it. So because you couldn't say it. Mama loved movies, so they had this movie theater that blacks were allowed to go to because everything in Valdosta was black and white. The water fountains, white only, colored only. The train station had separate rooms, white, black, and the theater was the most remarkable thing because in this great big theater, the whole bottom floor was for the whites, and the balcony was for the blacks. And I want you to know that the balcony wasn't that big. Wasn't that big. And I remember one day, one afternoon, Mommy and I were walking back home, and two white men were in a car, and would you believe they flickered their cigarettes out at us? So bad. That's one of the reasons why my mom decided to move out of Valdosta. And another thing too, my mama would wash and iron and cook and clean and nurse and take care of babies. And I never remember Mama saying she ever earned $1 for what she worked, for what she done. She said she would make a quarter, a dime, 5 cents. And just so happened, back in that day, you could go to the store and buy, say, 2 cents worth of flour or 10 cents worth of rice and some meat and make a meal. But can you imagine working all day for just a quarter? Or 50 cents?
Because his brother had a bar. The bar was called the red bar.
What was his brother's name?
Ellis.
Ellis Howell?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Ellis would sell beer. And the boys, sometimes the police would ride by here, Fifth Avenue, and they see him gambling in the back. When they would see him gambling, they would break it up. In other words, they were afraid of being arrested.
Mm-hmm.
So they would run away and leave the money right there.
Mm.
And the cops would take it. And they couldn't report it because you know how cruel the cops were during that time.
Mm-hmm.
All were niggers. So anytime I guess they were short of change and wanted to take some money for their wives or women, they would take all the black folk money, the little money they would gamble about. They had dice. And sometimes the people around would wonder, police coming? So, Mama left me one day to overseas. She said, I got to go downtown. And the buses were segregated at that night time. So I got on the bus, scared to death, on the bus. And so a white lady got on, and this bus driver was telling us we had to move in the back. One man said, if you don't take this bus down to such street, you won't know it. So they ready to fight. I said, oh Lord, I'm gonna be able to fight in the bus. Lord Jesus, please. But anyway, that bus driver kept on going downtown where he's supposed to go. So I was scared after that, and I didn't want to get on the bus no more. But anyway, the downtown was nothing for me to walk because I had to do it. And I'm like you, I love to walk. And I would walk from Fifth Avenue to Flagler Street. No big thing. The parades, we used to walk to it, rather than push and squeeze on the bus and niggas in the back, that thing. So.
They call every June they would have the people from the Bahamas to come and celebrate. People would have all kind of stands on the side of the streets, and you would be almost like you was going to a homecoming or reunion because you would see people that you hadn't seen before, you hadn't seen in years. They used to call it the Goombay Festival, but it was just a beautiful, beautiful time. Although we were restricted to certain things, the movie theaters that we had, they would allow us to sit in the balcony, not downstairs, because there were the white folks sit at. But if you threw any paper or had any kind of noise going on, they would put you completely out.
Like the whole entire black.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They had security people that would monitor you constantly for anything that you would do. They would put you out. There were times if you were sitting on the bus benches, they either going to work or going to school, and white kids would pass by if they were going, and if you weren't aware, they would throw their trash and stuff out on you, sodas, sandwiches, paper. So what you would do, if you heard them coming or they were blowing the horns or they were coming from a game or going to a game, you'd hide behind the bus bench so they wouldn't throw stuff on you. So, it was a time that you also had to be careful, but it was a time that, a lot of black folk were a lot closer and they were more concerned, seemed like, then than they is today. If I had something and you didn't have it, we would share with you. We would, our parents would say, take this over to Marcus and them house. If they didn't have a certain vegetables or meats or stuff, give them that or give them that. But today they're not close like that. If somebody was sick or somebody was in dire need, they would go to the homes and wash their clothes, clean their house, take care of their children, you know, things like that. If somebody passed away, they would go and take all the linen and stuff out. They would air it out, wash all their clothes, put everything away. They would come and pray with the family, you know, until you were able to do some of the things for yourself. Because, you know, grief sometimes lasts a while, and sometimes it used to last a little longer. But you always had good support and help from your neighbors or your family and friends. They did not just come and say, well, we saw her or saw him at church today. They would always check on you to see how you were doing. They would either go by and didn't have a lot of telephones sometimes, but they would always go by and see how they were doing or whether there was something they could do for them, you know, make their life a little better.